Good morning, everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. Before I get into the video, I'm gonna make an apology right up front for the audio in this video. For whatever reason, all of my batteries are dead. All of my microphones, my wireless mic, my little handheld Zoom recorder thing, all of my batteries are dead. And without batteries, my mics don't work. So right now, this unfortunately is my best and my only option. So hopefully it's not too bad. Now, I was fully anticipating that this video was going to be a normal project video, and actually I was supposed to be covering the spraying the all grip up on this sailboat right here. And so I finally had a little bit of time last night to sit down and do look at the editing or look at what I had recorded, and it needs more. I had so many things going on when I was setting up to spray that I didn't have the time. Or I should say I didn't have the luxury of being able to stop midway through the process and adjust camera angles and all this other fun stuff. So basically everything that I recorded was 2 hours of spraying from a stationary angle, and it needs more. It needs more content. But here's my plan. I still have some small items here that need to get sprayed. That's the cover for one of the companionways. I believe that's the forward companionway. And then over here is the actual the cover for the aft companionway, and also the traveler for the main sheet. So my plan is that when it comes time to shoot these smaller items, it's gonna be a lot easier for me to I guess comment on what it is that I'm doing. Trying to discuss the spray gun that I use, how I adjust the air pressure and the fluid nozzle, as far as how much fluid I have coming out, fan width, and all that other happy stuff, mixing and mixing up the paint, how much thinner I use, and just kind of basic gun setup. So I think that will tie in very, very nicely with what I already have recorded for when I was spraying the deck. So that's kind of the plan. So right now I'm thinking that this video is going to be just kind of an overview, just so that people can kind of see where things are at right now with the project. And this will be actual current time. So this is recording as of today. You'll be seeing this later tonight. So as you can maybe tell behind me, the large crate where the teak deck is now gone. We had a big weekend. This past weekend was kind of a big hurdle for the shop here. The owner and his father-in-law came up, and we were able to get the 41-foot long sections of the deck up on the boat, and nothing got damaged. Nothing. The paint didn't get scratched. The deck didn't get scratched or dinged at all. It just flawless. And I recorded all that too, but I want to try and keep some sort of a timeline here. So I want to get the spraying video out first before I show you the how we got the deck up and all that other happy stuff. So let's go up on top and give you a sneak peek as far as how everything is looking. Now I still need to, the panels are just set in place right now. They're not glued down. They're not even really fit. That's what I'm working on right now, is getting all the trim pieces, around the border. There's trim that goes on both the inboard and the outboard that kind of surround the main deck itself. I've already had the trim pieces. I gotta make sure I don't fall off this deck here. I've already had the trim pieces laid out before we brought the main deck up, and everything fits like a glove. I know that there's going to be some fitting and shaving that needs to be done, but I think the fitting part of this deck is going to actually go fairly quick. I'm hoping I can get all that done this week, and then this coming weekend be ready to actually glue down these large panels. So yeah, it was a pretty happy weekend, I guess. Chris and I, the owner of the boat, we were able to on the first day we were able to get the one panel up by ourselves, which was pretty creative. I had a pulley, hanging from my garage door track there down to the floor, and then we had scaffolding set up, down below us. We were able to basically lift up the forward section of the deck up, on a pulley system hanging from the garage door, And then the rest of it we could just manhandle and slide it up on my, I guess my work platform here. And then beyond that, just scoot it over on the boat and put it in place. It couldn't have gone any smoother. So sometimes it's just better to be lucky, I guess. But it took us about 3 hours of, you know, scratching our heads and figuring out how we were going to do this. Well, I won't bore you too much, but we started going. We started with one idea and abandoned it halfway through just because it was starting to get a little sketchy. And you know, these panels are expensive, very expensive. So last thing I wanted was to have one drop and hit the floor. So we scrapped the initial plan and then went to plan B, which actually went off without a hitch. So, you know, but this past weekend it was pretty cool. I mean, after we got the deck up, then we had a little bit of a cookout barbecue celebration thing down here at the shop. Nothing real fancy. Brought my girls down, and so they were able to see the boat for the first time since fall time. I don't think my youngest has ever seen this boat. And my oldest was down here once in the fall time before things got itchy. And then I haven't brought her down here since. So now that all the itchiness is done, I brought her back down. She's able to see it for the first time. And it was pretty cool. They were able to climb around up on the boat here and go down below and just kind of see, you know, everything that's been going on. That was a lot of fun. They were down here with me for 3-4 hours, I think. And it was a beautiful day. Maybe a little hot for my taste, but beautiful day. And it just, the barbecue was just a great way to end that day. We got both of the deck panels up in place, and it was a good day. It was a good day. Now, when I was spraying the all grip on this boat the first time, unfortunately, I had to redo it. I had, you know, some mishaps. So I got all of my paint mixed up, and I got the lines were charged, the air pressure was set. I was positive that I turned my compressor on. Well, I flipped the lever, and evidently I turned it off instead of turning it on. So I came up here and hooked up my pressure pot and got in the cockpit here and started spraying. You know, about 15-20 seconds into it, I started to realize, you know, started to notice that, you know, the paint's not coming out right. Something just isn't right. So I looked at my air gun, and you know, the gun is supposed to be at about 65 pounds of air pressure at the gun. And I was down to about 20. So I didn't have anywhere near enough air pressure when I was spraying the cockpit, which is the most detailed area on this boat. So because I didn't have enough air pressure, all the paint that I sprayed was very orange peeled. It was just terrible, terrible texture. And also, you know, so I figured, well, all right, fine. It's just the cockpit. You know, I'll be able to get on with the rest of the boat, and you know, things will be fine. I'll have to come back and retouch the cockpit, but you know, if that's all I got to do, no big deal. Well, so then I started spraying, you know, the rest of the cabin. First coat went on fine, and then you know, probably half an hour later, then I came up and started mixing and spraying my second coat up here. And just a little bit of a side story here. It was a very, very windy day that day, and this window right here, that faces west. And it was a very strong west wind. And I had all my windows open, had my exhaust fans running. So you see all those plastic foam boards? Those things have been propped there for 4 or 5 years. Never moved. Nothing. Never had an issue with them. Well, so I'm spraying my second coat. I'm just about done with it, and we get a gust through there. All of a sudden, 3 of those foam boards got blown over and hit my work platform here. And that work platform is not the cleanest. You know, and I blow it off with compressed air the day or two before I'm getting ready to spray, just to get the, you know, majority of the dust off. But you know, beyond that, it's a work platform. It's going to be dusty. Well, when those foam boards came falling over, they kicked up a ton of dust, and my exhaust fans doing what the exhaust fans are supposed to do, they pulled all of that dust right over the boat and out the back of the building. So everything that I sprayed was pooched. I mean, it was just covered in dust, and the dust specks, because the paint was still wet, were deep into the paint. So by the time I had to sand it all off, and try and buff it out, the paint was just way too thin. And so I ended up having to sand everything back down. I sprayed a black guide coat on here, sanded everything flush again. That took almost a week. I mean, because I had to sand all of this with 800 grit paper. Sanding does not go fast when you have to use 800 grit paper. So anyways, so I got all that knocked down and then resprayed it, and this respray went well. So just kind of give you a little overview of kind of what the paint looks like. I've still got a little bit of a little bit of touch-ups to do. Dust is actually pretty good. There isn't much in here. There's a little bit here and there, but overall, not much at all. And it came out nice. Came out very nice. So that was my little snafu on or my latest snafu. Hopefully, it's my last one with this project. So yeah, just thought I would share that. A lot of the times I don't normally share those kind of setbacks, but it's just how it goes. As anybody that works on boats, you know that you've got, sometimes things just happen, and there isn't much you can do about it. So, anyways, on that note, I think I'm gonna tie this button this video up. I need to get to work and start getting the trimming on here shaped and fit so that we can hopefully put this deck down this coming weekend. So, as always, I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this wasn't too long and boring for you. And again, if the audio sucked, I'll do better next time. I'll make sure my batteries are charged. I don't know why they were all flat, but I don't know. But yeah, there was no juice in any of them. So, anyways. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the week, and I will talk to you again very soon. Thanks for watching.